Hello there, boys and girls. Now, before we get started in this match, it's an important thing to point out. One of the things in Blood Bowl that doesn't really show up in the actual matches is the fact that each team, based on how many leveled players they have, there's sort of a team value. This is stuff that I've been talking about off and on in my posts. If you haven't been reading them, no big deal. But basically, the Orc team here, Magnetic North's Orc team, they have a lot of level 2 players, and we only have the one. So our team value is so different that we get.
That vampire is a badass.
Oh yeah, the vampires are bad. So we get a bunch of essentially what's called inducement money. So we can go out and you could buy a mercenary to come onto your team for a game, or you could go buy a bunch of different things. In this case, we're going to be glancing over most of these because some of them come up a lot, some of them don't really. But in this case, we have so much money that I'm just going to go ahead and buy a free reroll. So for this match and this match only, normally I have free rerolls, but because I am spending a bunch of this cash that I get for being a worse team than him, essentially, a lower team value team, I'm getting a bunch of money and I'm buying a fourth reroll.
Hooray!
Yay.
Oh goodness, is this the... this isn't the bad one.
Oh, the very first event is throw a rock. So between either of the two teams, one of the players randomly gets an injury roll, just rolled straight up against him. So in this case, it's Frankencastle, the guy who's already been knocked out at least once in every single match, gets immediately knocked out, and he's in the KO box. Wow. So our already terrible odds have gotten even worse, because orcs are the worst. 7 deadly sins, tell me about orcs.
Okay, orcs have 1 billion armor. They're slow. They're not dwarves, so that's a plus, but that's pretty much the only plus. All their players have strength not strength 9. Yeah, all their players have strength 9. All their players have armor value 9, which means that they are really, really hard to injure. Though, of course, our werewolf is a can opener, so...
Not in this case, unfortunately. Well. Also, I should point this out, because I know someone's going to yell at you. The orc thrower has armor value 8. The other ones have armor value 9. It's sort of like a dumb...
It's really stupid, because, it's not enough that he has armor value 8, but he also only has movement 5. Yeah. And that makes him, obnoxious. Human throwers are 6-3-3-8, so I would have been okay with an orc thrower that's 5-3-3-9 or 6-3-3-8, but instead we get 5-3-3-8 because, I don't know, fuck you for playing orcs, that's why.
So orcs are one of the staple teams. They've been around in Blood Bowl in its many iterations since almost, I'm pretty sure, the very, very beginning, back in 1990 whatever.
I believe they're actually one of the, when you buy Blood Bowl on tabletop,
right.
When you buy the box set of Blood Bowl, you get a roster of humans and a roster of orcs.
Now, what makes orcs terrible, and especially at this low TV, for me, and they are a very good matchup to my team, is that, well, first of all, they're very, very high armor value, and I only have the one guy with claw. And because he's plus movement, because we chose plus movement, which I am not knocking, I am a huge fan of plus movement, and it is what I wanted.
It is awesome.
We want him to be in a place to try to go score. And orcs are not, they're not the most subtle team. They have, you can see there are 4 gigantic players. Well, it's maybe not as obvious, but I can see 4 gigantic players. They are called black orcs, and they are very slow for movement. One of them is actually minus movement. He has a permanent injury. You might see that as I'm clicking through players, but they all are 4 movement and 4 strength. So he has 4 strength 4 players to my 2 strength 4 players.
They actually have the exact same stats as flesh golems. They don't get stand firm.
Which is the best skill.
But they're 80k apiece. They're strength 4 players for 80k, and he gets 4 of them. And 2 of them already have block. And so his team is going to be a pain in the ass. Orcs are... They're not, extremely bashy. I mean, they are very, very bashy. Let's just be upfront about that. They punch things real good.
They have the ability to not be, to be a little better at not always necessarily needing to bash. Now you can see he moved A and W Schwitz, one of his blitzers who has guard, and if you will remember from the other giant mega post that I made earlier this week, that guard is a great skill to have right where he has him, because he can be providing assists, positive assists on all of these players, and providing negative assists against all of these players.
It's not great for us. It's not great at all. And the fact that he has 2 players with guard is even worse, because it means that he is going to have the definitive strength advantage on us all game.
Yep.
The only thing that we have going for us is the movement advantage, and that's even kind of vague because that's only on 4 players. And actually, it's only on 2 players because he has 4 blitzers, and those are movement 6. So we don't even have like the huge movement advantage that we had over the Khemri from our first match. So really, this is just kind of a gross match. Maybe if we played these guys after we had like a second Ghoul or a second Wolf or something like that, we would have been on maybe a little better footing. But I fully expect this match to just be kind of ugly. I mean, right here, we're just in a box where this is the trash compactor, where you just put a whole bunch of dudes there and then you just kind of squeeze inwards until you squish the ball out of the tiny Ghoul's hands.
Orcs are not a team of subtlety, and as you can see here, Magnetic North, rather than choosing to keep some people in the backfield, he's going all balls to the wall, putting all his dudes against all my dudes, making it nearly impossible for me to sort of stand my ground. And he's going to force my hand and force me to try to get around him very earlier than I probably would have hoped to. However, because I'm contemplating a way to do this rather than have to go around the left side, because that leaves me kind of open. But unfortunately, that's going to be the move here.
The sideline is kind of iffy this match, just because of the positioning and the fact that if we take ourselves down the left side here, it's gonna be a lot harder to do the thing in which we like go places. Well, that was lucky. Stop doing that. Stop that.
Well, I wanted the zombie where he was rather than blocking another way.
Free reroll! Yay!
We are super fast, so I'm going to do what is essentially the only move. I'm going to try to pass to the werewolf, provide a little bit of screening in the form of the ghoul, but unfortunately, using that reroll means that I don't have a reroll to catch this pass, and things are looking very, very, very bad.
This is
already
like
turn 2.
Not good. See, that's the thing, is that we started out a man down because of one very, very rude fan. Oh, there's block. We started down because of a very rude fan, and then we just got kind of stuck here, where he not only outnumbers us, but he outstrengths us, and he got the superior field positioning because he was able to just kind of mash us on the line of scrimmage, and now it's not in a great position right now. Our only hope is that the Flesh Prince cannot screw it up, but considering his previous performances, I'm not real sure about that one.
You are really playing favorites with the Flesh Golems here.
Well, like Beef Slab is clearly the standout. Like, this is incontrovertible.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if you continue to call out Black Orcs using block, or him taking advantage of having a lot of block and me not having a lot of block, it's gonna get really old really quick, because that's gonna dominate this match. The fact that he has 6 players with block to my 2.
It's not like the punching advantage is very, very much on the side of Magnetic North. And unlike the Khemri, he also has mostly agility 3 players, which means that he can actually do things with the ball.
Pick up the ball, yeah. Now, rookie Blood Bolsters, pay attention to that move where he pushes McGruff. He chooses to push McGruff over there. If you were paying attention to my giant assist lesson, here's Beef Slab taking one on the chin on the very first punch. So
good.
So that's equality there. But so the rookie Blood Bolsters will pay attention to that choice, that intentional choice to push him there rather than push him straight up right next to the ball.
Yeah, we don't want to... I assume that at some point he wants to pick up the ball, and the fact that we are not next to the ball makes that a bit more manageable.
But he can't really do it this turn, and by him choosing to do it and push McGruff in such a way, I have basically one play here. My play is to blitz with Santos Van Hammerstein,
and push
his player onto the ball, hope that he falls down. If he doesn't, no big deal. Hope the ball scatters in a good spot for McGruff to run over, pick it up, and sprint into the end zone. And so I'm gonna set up here just in case that fails, and it might fail, in all honesty. And here we go. Let's go for it.
Well,
Dub Skulls.
Womp, womp.
And now you know why I got all those rerolls. So fortunately, the ball actually scatters in a pretty good spot.
That is, like, probably the optimal scatter.
Mm-hmm.
If that was a knockdown, this would probably actually, like...
So this is a 4+ and a 3+, and if I get it right, I score. And if I don't, the ball scatters right into his guys, and...
That was the worst scatter possible, by the way. Actually, no, it wasn't. The worst scatter possible would have been directly down twice, leading to him picking it up. These are some amazing names, by the way.
Oh yeah, I do point out his names are pretty great.
Goodness.
I could read off his entire roster, but I think they speak for themselves. You can unfortunately this pitch we're playing on, the Norse pitch, it's white on white. It's disgusting. It's one of the worst pitches.
Welcome to block, folks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll stop. It's gonna get old.
It's only turned 3, and that's like what the 4th time
Also,
anyway.
He hasn't spent a reroll, and we've spent 2.
Yep. If I didn't buy that extra reroll, I would have 1 left, and things are not looking good because this was supposed to be my ball. It's already turned 3, and I'm getting thoroughly manhandled here.
Yeah, it's not great. Meanwhile, Flesh Prince, being a player presumably, it's not great.
And so this is just orcs being orcs. He has a very, very high punch potential, and he's getting full advantage of that, scoring a lot of critical knockdowns and generally just tying up all of my players who I would like to be not dying and getting punched.
Yeah, and the especially bummer thing about this is that since this was our drive, he gets the ball at the half, which means that after all of this, we just have to give him the ball back.
Yeah, at least, barring some real heroics here, I sort of gambled the house on my my high movement players. Them being, I mean, realistically, if you take out the white and the werewolf, he pretty much outclasses my entire team.
In every way. Orcs tend to do that. They're a really, really good starting team before you have skills. I mean, they scale pretty well just because their composition is really good, but they really stand out during this time where they easily outstrength most teams, they easily outblock most teams, and with the exception of stuff like Wood Elves and Skaven and like really movement-specific teams, they're not even that out mobility either.
And so now he has the ball. He has a lot of guys standing up. I don't have a lot of guys standing up. However, look where he stands, this guy.
That's questionable.
How many squares from the sideline is that?
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. So you know how I said I wasn't going to blitz and I wasn't going to surf someone every game. I was going to sort of take it easy with some of that stuff. No.
He tries to defend himself. You will not be denied.
I mean, if, like, again, the orcs are sort of forcing my hand here. The surf is the play.
And that also, is the play. Another thing is that when you're surfing, even if you end up with something stupid like a -2 DB, it's not the worst thing in the world because all you need to do is score 2 pushes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's okay, I guess. It's not what we're really going for, but we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Stop doing the dangerous things.
I'm doing the things that, barring everything else, pretty much everything is dangerous at this point.
I would have at least stood my players up.
Well, maybe, but I'm just trying
maybe
to. I'm just
Flesh
trying.
Prince, not quite as much, just because. I mean, he's a lost cause by now.
Don't write him out yet. He may surprise you one of these days.
I'm absolutely writing him off.
So here we go. Here is the play. I'm running very, very low on rerolls, so a lot of pushes would be great. I get 2 there, and here we go. Drum roll, going for it, failed. Yes! To the tune of 3 rerolls. I would have wasted all my rerolls by now if.
That's actually a pretty okay position for that ball. I'd like to note, since he got pushed out, the ball went with him, and so you can see down at the bottom the throw-in direction and throw-in distance.
Yep. Which we have mentioned earlier, but yeah, go ahead.
But this is it in action. So the throw-in direction says it's a 1, so it goes down and to the right.
Okay, check this out.
And it's a 6. Oh my goodness.
Zombie dodging.
Aw, you didn't do it.
I mean, frankly, where that guy was standing, this was sort of not necessarily a
he's
gamble.
actually
but it
probably
was-
more useful laying down because at least there he's like guaranteed to block a path.
He's blocking paths, and if I could get him standing next to the ball, that he would have been way more valuable than where he was.
Flesh Prince.
So we're
not
still
great.
not out of the fire yet, but we have improved considerably. Considering 2 turns ago, the ball was on the ground. Both of my good players were on the ground, and every single other player was getting punched around, which is not a place I want to be because, like I was saying earlier, Santos, Van Hammerstein, and McGruff, the 2 high mobility players, are essentially the only advantage I could get over this orc team because he has flesh golems only better. He has whites only better in the form of he has 4 blitzers if you didn't count. Only 2 of them have guard, but they all have block, and they're all pretty much just whites but better, and he has more of them.
Yes, it's not great. I would like to note that you're deploying the Whine About Blood Bowl card pretty early in the chat
Yep.
there.
I would be a hypocrite if I didn't point out that I do a little bit of whining about Blood Bowl, mostly just lamenting the fact that we haven't won a game yet, and I would like to, but we've had some pretty rough. Oh yes, Dub Skulls.
But he's got block, so whatever.
But I made him waste a reroll, so now he's tasted my pain. The Dub
No,
Skulls.
he hasn't. I mean, let's be honest.
I have rolled a lot of Dub Skulls so far, but yeah. Anyway, I was in the heat of the moment. I mean, there are essentially 2 schools of thought when it comes to playing Blood Bowl. There are the people who complain a lot, and there are the people who are Zen masters. And as much as I like to pretend that I'm a Blood Bowl Zen master outside the match, when I'm actually playing the game, I get a little upset. I get a little hot under the collar.
We both know that there's only one true Zen master. Oh.
Yes.
See,
Beef
Beef
Slab.
Slab's my boy.
And he is now set up to deploy more punches.
Oh, and Riffraff is unmarked, which means that you can just go stand on the ball now.
Yeah. Oh, and I have 2 players I can go stand on the ball.
One of them is a white. Actually,
and
no, the white's marked or whatever.
The whites are both pretty well tied up.
But your zombies can go be
Mhm.
filler, which is better than most days.
In addition to all my other players over there, including McGruff because of his insanely high movement.
Beef Slab is where it's at.
So, up until this point, things were not looking very good. They were not in our favor, but
They're still not looking very good, but
they're looking a lot better.
yeah, it's
would you
not
agree?
quite grim.
My entire team isn't on the ground.
It's true.
So things are looking up, and because I have such high mobility to his low mobility, that means I am a lot better at. Well, I am still in a better position to run down the field and get control of the ball. Here I think about going after another Black Orc and decide against it.
Rowendy's might be my favorite player name on this team, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of good player names on this team. I'm partial to Chipolpot, but Rowendy's has got to be up there, definitely.
It's just so catchy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh man, we're
Yeah.
punching players and they're ending up on the ground.
If you remember, yeah, we need that reroll.
We need that reroll. It would have been our last reroll, and you don't just like piss away your last reroll on something that is literally irrelevant.
It feels like so long ago that he was kicking the ball off to me, and I had the ball in my hands. And look at it's turn 5, and it feels like so long ago.
And the ball pretty much hasn't moved. Like, it went forward a little bit, and then it went backwards a little bit, and now it's pretty much in the place that it landed on turn 1. Oh, and then he stunned McGruff.
That's fine.
That's
Who needs
not
him?
fine. It's not
I
great.
don't need that. I don't need my plus movement or my plus movement wolf, my only leveled player, and the star of the team.
Yeah.
So, however, this is still a salvageable situation. This is still a salvageable board.
At the very least, we can prevent him from scoring, and that's the really important bit. Because if he scores on our drive and then gets the ball back, we're just in the bad place.
Yeah. I almost prefer the opportunity to kick to him, I'm sort of, at this point, I'm sort of looking forward to it, because that means I get to reset the board, and like very, very early in this match, all of my players got caught up in all of his players, and things did not go the way that I wanted them to go.
I was really wondering why you put so damn many players on the line. I mean, I get that you want to punch, but
Yep. Yes.
you really don't.
No, I want to punch.
No, you want to get your high movement players deep when they don't have the ball.
Maybe. I mean, the big problem was that my whites were standing, well, they were on the ground, but my zombies were in places where they could move around, and if my zombies can move, that means I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
Now here, you'll see me entertain the possibility of passing the ball to Bone Cruncher McGraw. I'm looking at who can get to him.
I was legitimately thinking that you were going to do that. That's probably the best play.
I had the reroll, so here I don't know what Magnetic North is going for. He gets a little antsy, and he starts to run. I'm guessing he wants to go stand next to the ball, which wouldn't be impossible for me to deal with, but he sort of opens up the entire right side, and on here...
And then he falls on his ass.
An unfortunate failed going for it, and I now see a gigantic hole in his defense, where before it seemed like orcs were an impassable wall. We now have a great situation.
The only problem is that the only man capable of holding off the orc tide over there
Bone
is
Cruncher.
the one and only Flesh Prince.
Oh, and Flesh Prince.
He's like our last line of defense, which honestly is not the best position to be in.
I think it's better than the best position to be in. I believe in the Flesh Prince. Miracles are real. Flesh Prince 2014.
At some point you're going to break armor and it's going to be glorious. I'm sure of it.
It's armor value 9. That's not happening. Let's be real. However, I will be pushing players around and leveraging my movement. I finally get a white free.
You used up all your killing last game.
Yeah, that's true. The
But it was
Blitzkrieg
Pro
of Death.
Elves. They were asking you to stop that.
No,
Fucking stop that.
I wanted him right where he was, because as soon as I can get around this wall of orcs, I have scored and I have won the half.
The other thing that's notable is that those are black orcs that are over there, which means that they're never catching up. So if he doesn't do some magic in 2 turns, we're just running away with it. So this is actually an amazingly good field position. Look at all those dudes that his orcs have to waddle through in order to get a beat on us.
If the Flesh Prince can hold up for 1 block, my nice wall of zombies has made it nearly impossible for him to mount a reasonable defense against me.
This is a pretty scrappy pitch, though, honestly.
Yeah, this is the giant mosh of players is not what I was looking for, especially considering how many Strength 4 block players and players with guard, and also players with block he has.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what orc games always devolve into.
For better or for worse.
So here he is, considering whether or not he wants to waste his last reroll, and he chooses not to, and I think that was not the play. Oh, and the Flesh Prince manages to not die on a block.
So you can see, I am again choosing to
forgo the boing.
Tactically turn off Stand Firm in order to position him a little bit better to screen for any downfield play.
There was no push. Both of those pushes are really good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're both astoundingly good for you. So, yes, one thing to note is that skills are not mandatory. They're all... Well, some skills are not mandatory. Frenzy is. But any skill that says you may means also that you may not.
It's something, if you're playing Cyanide, it's something you have to go into the options and change. Like everything else in Cyanide, it's a little bit of a nightmare trying to actually find that menu. But if you can track it down, you can do stuff. Like, especially one of the ones that I'm a big fan of is that the game starts with piling on turned on by default. And if you know what piling on is, you probably are familiar with the fact that it's always turned on by default. But piling on is a skill that forces your player to go down to the ground, and you might not want that to happen. In one case, Yappo was telling me about one of the first times he ever had piling on a player. He had a ball carrier who had it, so he did the piling on and immediately lost his turn because he went to the ground and his ball carrier fell.
This isn't the greatest position, but it's also not the worst. And the fact that Riffraff didn't get stunned there is actually a huge deal.
Yep. Yeah, so this is still pretty solvable with a white. Here I am going, I'm sort of taking survey of the board. I go over to look at who is KO'd. You'll see me do it very shortly. And I sort of lose track. I assume that his turn's over. I don't really know what he's thinking about. You can see he has one player left. I don't know if he's considering like an ill-fated punch or something. But I am sort of forming the battle plan. Oh, that's right. There's another player.
He wants to throw 1 DBs because he has armor value 9 and block.
And block, and I do not. But I'm totally happy keeping him occupied. So I go over here and look at who got knocked out of bounds, and I totally miss him dodge through 3 tackle zones and come stand next to me.
What a dick!
A ridiculous throwaway play that shouldn't happen, and he gets it done. He gets some pretty great dice. He gets a 5.65.
That's awful.
It is now. Things are now not as good as they previously were.
No, they're not great.
Again, still not impossible to solve, but just a little bit harder.
Now we have to rely on a 1 DB instead of a... No, we can get a 2 DB over there. The thing is that now Dr. White is free, which actually helps us get a bit better field positioning. Yep.
I am going to try to set up the best screen that I can. I consider better placement for him, but ultimately choose to go right there.
I hope you don't make this a 1 DB.
That is what is going to happen.
You could have added an assist with either Dr. White or Bone Cruncher McGraw, and I'm disappointed.
I was so put off because I was zooming around thinking about what I was going to do, and I totally did not even see the 3 dodge through tackle zone dodges, and so I totally got thrown off my game. But it's still doable. This is still solvable, and that is going to be the linchpin. Yeah. So yeah, that's who I punch.
I'm rolling my eyes real hard at you over here.
Well, now I'm going to run all the way around here, and either way, I'm going to have to make this dodge, and this means that he has a low movement player who is walled off, and I have a lot of players who can get in his way, and that is pretty much that successful dodge. Pretty much means that I'm
that
going
pretty
to
much
score.
Seals it right here.
Yeah.
Like, the only option for him is basically to, like, well, he can't actually hit that ghoul. It's, like, not actually possible.
He can only stand next to me, and I have a pretty solid ability to stop him.
Yeah, and we have plenty of players that can go over there and just punch him if he does anything.
However, I wouldn't put anything past him, considering that
what just happened. Yes,
I am still, to this day, and I will go to the grave upset that A&W Schwitz. Oh, that's because A&W Schwitz had guard, so that's what. Yeah, and so I was setting up to punch the other guy, and then I forgot that he had guard, and so I sort of had to change gears.
Panicked. Elvis Costello takes it on
for
the
lack
chin.
of a better term.
Meanwhile, Flesh Prince going down again.
It's a block black orc. What do you want from him?
To stand up.
He did it. He did his best. I feel like I'm his dad.
He got pushed once.
I feel like
Granted,
I'm just defending
that push
him
is
here.
like the most important push of any match that he's been in. So that's like, if he was ever gonna succeed, that's the time. But
now Magnetic North.
It's still not great, man. You can't deny it's not great.
While Magnetic North could have theoretically stuck a something, I don't know, an orc in the works, he chooses to use his blitz to try to punch the werewolf again, aiming again for the long-term strategy of maybe knocking him out, the wolf out of this match, and essentially giving me this.
Because that wolf is really the only threat that you pose to him.
Yep.
And I think at this point, upon failing that, he has already given up. He's conceded the score. Sure. He knows that it's not happening. He's not stopping this.
So now the question is, I have no rerolls. Am I going to try to get you and throw a block here?
For the love of God, don't.
I don't know.
You were so mad about not having won a match all the way around.
Yeah.
That, like, if you throw that block, I will be very disappointed in you. And he fouls
that's right.
Your,
I totally
wolf.
forgot. So another mechanic that we haven't talked about in Blood Bowl because it almost never happens, except for a few players who love doing it, is something called the foul. If one of your players is sitting on the ground, simply not stunned but simply just knocked down, you can choose to run up to them and foul them. And you try to make an armor break against them, and if that succeeds, you try to make an injury roll against them. For either of these rolls, if you roll a double, meaning like a 1-1 or a 2-2 or a 3-3, your player gets ejected from the match. And, I choose to not get cute, and I just choose to go immediately.
Thank fuck.
Continuing that thought, if one of your players rolls doubles, he gets ejected from the match, and he has to go stand on the sideline in the penalty box for the rest of the game, meaning that he can't come back in for the rest of the match, but from then on he's fine. Thankfully, Frankencastle stands back up, and if you'll remember, his Black Orc, or not his Black Orc, his Blitzer with Guard, who got KO'd, is staying where he is, KO'd.
That's
which is great
actually awesome. But because it's turn 8, he gets another roll to try and wake up that KO, so...
Oh, I'm going to continue my thoughts about fouling in a second, but you can see he's set up in what we call all men's LOS, or he was set up in all men's LOS, which is where you stand all your men's on the LOS. I show my disappointment in him and Magnetic North, despite the fact that he's throwing fouls against my wolf, which is something that not a lot of people... Fouling is sort of the dark side of Blood Bowl, but he is choosing to be a real bro and go all men's LOS.
A fun haver.
I promise to kick the ball very shallow because I know that he wants to try to get a vanity pass, get that 1 SPP. And what do I get for my show of good faith? Is get the ref, so that offers a bribe. So like I was saying, if you roll a double, you get ejected from the entire match.
Oh, that was magical.
That nonsense. But
that was awesome.
And a bribe is one of the inducements that you can buy, like how I bought that team reroll. A bribe is an inducement you can buy. So he gets a bribe, and if you have a case where a player gets ejected, you can choose to use your bribe and try to roll some dice. And if you roll a 1, he gets ejected still. But if you roll anything else, you essentially bribe the ref, and your player gets to stay in the match. So if you foul a player and you kill him, or you give him badly hurt or minus movement or whatever, you don't get the SPP for the casualty, but he is still hurt or maimed, and that is obviously good for you.
One of the reasons that fouling is kind of frowned upon when it's not a serious business match is because one of the things about it is that it can only cause injury to the opponent without giving you any benefit. At least on blocks, if you get someone down, you get SPP for it.
And that's a half. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.